Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at the best teams on PvPoke. Those are from test builds as well as simulations, and those are going to be interesting because we can see if they're going to work out or not today. And of course, if you enjoy those videos, feel free to leave a like. And next week I'm going to take a look at my top 10 teams for the Great League from the season, so stay tuned for that one as well. But of course, this is going to be the last 2 weeks of this season. The interlude season is going to be finally over, and now we're going to have at least 2 times still Great League available. So try to get as much Stardust to prepare for the next season, and let's take a look here at the first team, which is a team I streamed as well. If you haven't seen the stream, of course, it's still on the channel. I haven't been able to stream really recently in the last week because honestly, like, there was a lot going on, as well as the meta itself, like neither Master League or the EOIC meta I really enjoyed too much, so I didn't really stream there. This was definitely a team that I streamed and had a lot of success with. I only went positive as far as I know with this team. I went crazy positive, I think, with this team. I think I went like 16-4 or something on the stream, and I generally, wasn't even paying a lot of attention. So this is a fantastic team to run. I would really recommend you to give it a try. Difficult can be, like Weekly Tough and Elite could be a bit difficult. But otherwise, we have like Corviknight, which could be a bit of a pain as well. It should be still alright though. I don't really see on how this team is not going to be good right now. Like, it was super strong. I would really recommend to you. Of course, we have Jellicent in the lead, which is mainly weak to those ghost type Pokemon, which you're going to be able to counter with your backline, as well as like dark type Pokemon, where Weekly Tough just comes in clutch. Like Jellicent and Weekly Tough is the perfect core, and then Furret is just in the middle. That kind of on how this works, and yeah, it's a fantastic team. Like, I would really recommend it to you. Alright. We're going to have Credilli, we're going to have Jellicent, as well as we're going to have the Talonflame here. Credilli is going to be weak to fighting type Pokemon, Jellicent is going to be able to resist them, as well as Talonflame going to be able to resist them. This is a second team on PvPoke. I feel like this team, like, yeah, you have like the lead that's going to be good against electric types as well, which is kind of nice because you need it. But what I feel like with this team, it doesn't really have a clear designated say-swap. Like, I feel like neither Jellicent or the Talonflame make a lot of sense. So the only way where I can see that this team is really working well, again, these are PvPoke teams, and I just give my honest opinion towards them, is if you try to play the lead out all the time. This is the only way on how I can see that. I feel like the only time where you don't want to play it out is if you get really hard countered, like no matter what it is, like you really need to get hard countered. But then again, if it's an Empoleon or a Bastion which you lose, you have to still stay in there, because otherwise, like, you're gonna be hard countered with those Pokemon against the Talonflame. So like, you have to be very much mindful on what you have there. But my honest opinion, it could still work out for sure if you just play out the lead and then just try to align your backline. But of course, if there's going to be an electric type Pokemon in the back, you're going to be struggling a little bit. But generally speaking, interesting team. Interesting team, would need to be studied here, would need to have a little bit of test builds with this team in order to see if it actually functions well. Alright. We're going to have here next the Stunfisk, we're going to have the Empoleon, we're going to have the Primeape. I would actually rather go for Corviknight Say-Swap, which I talked about before as well. This is a team that I've been using before and had great success with. I do definitely agree that this is a very fantastic team. You have alternatives here as well, like all the alternatives were on the PvPoke top team list as well. That's why, like, I put like those teams together and kind of choose the top 10 from, I think, a list of like 20 plus teams. So here, those are kind of modded together. We're going to have in the back here as well the Malamar, which I feel like is kind of underrated right now. I don't really see a lot of people playing it, but I think it's actually really good in the current meta, as well as Moltres as an alternative. Empoleon as an alternative as a say-swap. I don't really like Empoleon too much as a say-swap because there are a few weaknesses of this Pokemon, but just generally speaking, it's going to be like Corviknight, in my opinion, is the best say-swap. It's kind of in the meta, and if you have a ground type in the lead and you have like a Pokemon, I guess especially like if you have Moltres in the back and you have a double flying backline, you're going to be able to most of the times get out the Bastion with your Corviknight, which helps us a ton. It's kind of how those teams kind of function. But Core Breaker here is apparently the Gourgeist, which of course breaks the core of Stunfisk and Corviknight, as well as here in this case Primeape, not so much the dark type Pokemon in the back. Next up, very standard normal team. This is kind of, again, the reverse team of this one. But if you're going to take a look at the other Pokemon that you could have here as well for the team, you would see that you have Furret and Licky, which I do like as well. Like, again, those are the Pokemon that were on PvPoke's top team list, so multiple teams put together. But basically, Furret and Licky kind of reminds me more of the there was a time basically back in the day where you were running fighting double normal with 2 rollout users, and it's like, of course, now 1 rollout user with the Licky in the back, but it would make a lot of sense. Again, fighting is mainly not able to hit ghost type Pokemon. Yes, you have Rage Fist on Elite, but you're still not going to have the greatest matchup there, and Shadow Ball Licky really helps out with that. So I actually do think that's a fantastic team to run. You can also use something like Bastion in the back here as well and put Licky as a safe, so I feel like that would work out quite well as well. So I do think this would be a cool team. I do think it would be a cool team, especially with Ferd and Licky now in hindsight. But yeah, no matter how you're going to run it, I do think this is a very, very good team to run for yourself. And if you have the Pokemon, try them out. That's an interesting one here. We're going to have a potential triple normal type team with the Wigglytuff, the Feraligatr as Say-Sub, or the Licky Say-Sub, and the Ferret as a closer. Ferret as a closer actually does kind of work out quite well because they have Trailblaze, which can allow you to sweep endgame. But otherwise, it's interesting. Like, you don't really have a hardcore breaker there. We're going to have the Clefable, which could be a bit of a pain, but otherwise, it's going to look like it's honestly a very good team. But generally speaking, I feel like a Wigglytuff plus Ferret core makes a lot of sense. It's like the funny thing about Wigglytuff, it's a normal type that beats fighting type Pokemon. But yeah, like, this is generally speaking an interesting one. And I'm curious, and by the way, if Wigglytuff gonna get nerfed next season because it is dominating currently. This Pokemon is so much better again. But let's take a look here at how this is gonna go for team number 6. Which is mostly the most interesting one out of them all, because we have 3 Pokemon that I didn't really expect to be on this list here today. We have Celio, can be run Shadow as well. We have Charjabug, and we have Ludicolo. And this team itself actually does work out quite well. Basically what we have here is the Celio as Elite is going to be able to kind of pressure Pokemon like Altaria especially, as well as you're going to have the Say-Sub of Charjabug trying to bait out Altaria. Altaria is still neutral for you as you have Discharge and Volt Switch, which is going to do some nice neutral damage there, but you're going to be, of course, taking super effective damage off the Flamethrower, but you can avoid the matchup then for your Ludicolo endgame. That could be a fun team. Where I feel like it kind of could struggle is definitely dealing with, like, I mean, Bastion, you have Surf in the lead, you would play it out. You have the Weather Ball Water on the Ludicolo, it's kind of alright. Licky is more difficult. Licky is going to have super effective coverage with a fast move against your lead as well as your Say-Sub, and then does double resist the fast move of your Pokemon in the back here and the Ludicolo, so that's going to be a bit more of a tougher one as well. Or the Ferret, which again is going to have Trailblaze for the lead. More neutral against like Charjabug, I guess it's kind of fine. But again, double resist the fast move of Ludicolo. Interesting team though. I didn't expect this one on the list, but I kind of want to include it as well here. Interesting team for sure. Next up, I do think this is going to be a fantastic team though. It's going to be very weak to Ice-type Pokemon, that's why we have Celio down there. But we have Moltres, we have Agurgast, we have the Clodsire. And unless you're an Ice-type, you're actually going to struggle against this team. Clodsire is kind of underrated in my opinion. Dark plus Poison is still very strong, even in this meta right now. And Agurgast is one of the best Say-Subs, and especially with this team, it does make a lot of sense. So I would definitely recommend you to give this team a try. I do think this is working out quite well as well here. And it should be definitely fine. Like, this should be definitely okay to run. Again, I do think Gorgas is a fantastic Say-Sub in the current meta, and I do think that the Clodsire is kind of underrated right now, so would give it a try if it was you, definitely. Next up, we're going to have one of the most toxic teams here. This is going to be the Marowak, the Steelix, as well as the Bastion. This actually has been dominating quite a bit recently. It is going to be very weird on paper because you have a triple like ground rock team, like they would be all weak to water, like all of them are weak to water, which is a bit awkward, and then you don't really have the best answer to grass type Pokemon as well. But surprisingly, Marowak doesn't really care a lot of times of the weaknesses of Pokemon, or like the weakness of itself, and it can just Mudstep through stuff, and this is why I feel like Mudstep deserves kind of a bit of a damage reduction. And so, like, even against Gastron, you're going to be able to win. Against most of the water-type Pokemon, you're going to pressure them enough. Then again, you have, like, the most common water-type Pokemon is most ideal Zumra outside of Gastrodon, which you're going to be able to resist kind of the charge moveset of, like, with a Bastiodon, which then again is going to be able to lock them down. So, on paper, it looks like this team doesn't make sense, and this team has a lot of weaknesses. But then again, you even see that there's barely any grass-type Pokemon currently around, which would be a pain otherwise. So, like, it is very much situational, but in the current meta, I feel like this is a fantastic team to run. I battled it a ton of times, and I don't think it's a very pleasant experience to try to go up against this team. So, definitely something if you want to get some Stardust fast. Second to last team, we're going to have the Shadow Dusknoir, we have the Corviknight as well as the Cradilly. Dusknoir is going to be one of my favorite Pokemon currently to run. It has so much fast move pressure, it's amazing in the lead. I feel like the lead matchup is the best for it. And then for like the common weakness of this Pokemon, we're going to have great Pokemon in the back there. For example, against Wigglytuff, which you cannot hit with your fast move, we're going to have a Steel-type Pokemon and a Pokemon in the back that has Poison-type fast move damage, which makes a lot of sense. You have the weakness of fighting with your Pokemon in the back, but your Pokemon in the lead can deal with it, as well as you have Air Cutter on the Corviknight. This team itself is very balanced, and I do think this team has a lot of potential for this meta. So again, you can utilize especially the charge boost set of the Dusknoir, which I think is kind of the best kind of way of doing it. You can just use your shields early on, and then you have two bulky Pokemon in the back that don't really need those shields, which is really nice as well. And the final team is like kind of a compilation of the most common core right now. Funny enough, PvPokes suggest a lot of times to have Altaria with the Empoleon as a Sasop. A lot of times you have like the Empoleon as your closer, but a Sasop Empoleon with like Gastrodon in the back or the Steelix in the back is kind of an interesting shout. I do think that Steelix makes a little bit more sense because you're going to be a bit better off against like Pokemon like Togekiss or the Moltres. But generally speaking, interesting idea. It's an interesting idea. I could see also something like the Scissor in the back as a closer, kind of interesting for this team. But this is going to be it for the top 10 teams on PvPoke. Hopefully you enjoyed this one. If you did, feel free to leave a like and yeah, follow for more. See you then. Bye bye.